last bowl though. She just dropped well short. It's made it a very difficult head for Joe Edwards to play to. Still playing on the forehand, just looking to get another ball head. But I suspect she just looks like she's got a bit of weight once again. The ball's gone right round to the back, so very difficult for Edwards to play to. But for Lindsay Armitage, an opportunity again to add another shot.
So Armitage on the backhand this time. And get close. Once again, she can't see the jack either, but she's done a fantastic job here. Well, is she? No, she's promoted.
No, they're both Australian bowls as well. Two blue bowls Australian, and of course the Australia. 3 shots. Has opened it up slightly for Joe Edwards, but exceptionally well aligned to make a difference.
She's coming in with a bit of weight.
Oh, and it looks narrow.
No help.
So both skips have got 1 bowl left. Lindsay Armitage in the position of advantage, holding 3 shots. She just walks back to pick up her bowl, and we'll be looking to maybe in danger at the back there to get a bowl of cover over the back.
So once again, she's preempting what could happen.
That's right, yes.
But will it happen? Joe Edwards is in control of that at the moment?
Yes, yeah. Joe Edwards has a very difficult shot to play here. There's not much target. There's an Australian bowl about 2.5 metres short of the jack, which is making it difficult, and she's got to negotiate past it. Has she got well, target with the head, the bowl that she was aiming for, but didn't get it. The jack did move, but well, it's 2 ends in a row, 2-3. Jumped out now to an 11-shot to 7 lead. Significant change in the game. This is the reverse of yesterday and the day before.
Well, at this stage it goes to show that I shouldn't predict anything, doesn't it?
You can't predict anything in our sport. It's you know, I mean, you think you know who might play, might be most suited to the circumstances, but that way. I mean, and in the case that we've got very talented players on both. It's the person that can, or the team top on the day.
11 of 18 gone, 11-7 Australia over New Zealand in the women's pairs.
We'll see Cottrell's first bowl has gone right back to the edge of the ditch.
Val Smith standing here like a statue now. She decides to move. It's coming just a little bit light, perhaps.
Just a little bit short. Obviously Cottrell is here on the backhand. Just seen considerable number of balls played down this side of the rink. I mentioned it before. Now obviously it's making a difference to the probably wearing a track on that side. And they just seem more comfortable on that side of the head.
They do. I think that's it entirely. Perfect, deliberate action of Val Smith. If you watching at home and you want to improve your bowls, have a look at these women. Have a look at the delivery. It is inch perfect every single time, and I guess it's all about consistency. Here's Kelsey Cottrell.
Kelsey's played an excellent bowl here, just come around past Val Smith's bowl and drawn the shot. Great bowl. You're wanting to ensure that this bowl at least reaches the head. She has two bowls which are short. Joe Edwards says, I like this a lot better, Val. Go a lot closer this time.
Just going to rest on the Australian bowl.
Both good shot. Yeah, great shot from Val Smith. Kelsey Cottrell once again on the backhand. Has she got enough? Just ducking in under the head.
Now Val will just want to put this close, won't she? She won't want to disrupt what's happened right by the jack, but she'll want to get...
Val needs another bowl on the head. You know, they just, as we said before, she had two short bowls. It looks like she's going to timber on, but it's turned it up. Oh, in fact, it's turned it, what, about a metre and a half right up into the head, and is holding two. That's rather fortunate, but
That is the rub of the green, Jim. Of the green.
absolutely.
I'll say that she intended to do that.
I'm sure she'll. There's always arena. Some of the spectators there enjoying the view down at the TransTasman bowls in Invercargill, looking over the fence. Must be the best spot to view it from.
Of 18. It's 11-7 to the Australians.
Once again, she's got the slide off the front bowl and head. Kelsey Cottrell indicates that she's still one down, but has changed the head and now has 2 seconds. So yeah, a good bowl from Lindsay Armitage. Joe Edwards down the backhand side again, really looking to get another bowl on the head. Kelsey Cottrell just there was giving some instructions.
I thought that was interesting that Armitage played with previous. It was early days, but I suppose she felt that the New Zealand bowl was a danger.
I guess the options were that she wanted to try and alter things around a little bit. She played an excellent bowl here, turned over her own short bowl and in for shot. Great bowl there, Kelsey, from Lindsay Armitage. Great shot. Val Smith's calling Joe Edwards on a similar type bowl, trying to work off Val Smith's bowl, which is just jack level.
80 means triple spices sleep. Triple next door.
Yes, once again, just doesn't have the weight. Needs another good metre and a half of weight into the head. Got to say at this stage, Phil, that the Australian pairing of Lindsay Armitage, Kelsey Cottrell are on top, and scoreboard reflects that, of course. They're 4 shots ahead and holding shot on this, the 12th end.
You heard the clapping there from... So she's happy with that as well. Their tail's up a little bit in the last couple of ends, so maybe...
Yes, you scored 2 threes in a row, and
it gets you a bit excited.
The body language all starts changing, doesn't it? It's Joe Edwards still is a little tight, but this time has got more weight, I think. Has she got enough? Joe, Val Smith's bowls turned it up a lot closer to the head, but still one to Australia.
But once again, we see from the overhead shot, Armitage can't be too aggressive here because she can't afford to move her bowl either. To the New Zealand bowl, but she can't really disturb the rest of the head.
No, there's no need for her to be aggressive either. She's just got to get another bowl close to the head. And it'll be interesting to see what hand she plays here, because she called on the forehand, I believe, but there's coming in both ways into that head now. She has opted to come into the backhand way into the head. New Zealand bowl is just a bowl low, but the chances are not great, so she'll be trying to rest in on the New Zealand bowl, sit in there and get another shot. Has she got the weight?
Oh, she's going to short and
just a fraction of weight, but does it change Joe Edwards' shot? No, you're back over on this forehand.
Is that because the backhand entrance is kind of blocked now?
The chances of getting the shot for New Zealand on the backhand are not great. The only way they can get it is actually draw off their own bowl, whereas the chances on the forehand, they can actually get to the jack, and if they move the jack, and Val Smith, so look at this bowl. There's a chance of getting the shot off the... there was a chance of getting the shot off the wing, off the side bowl. Just went through the hole, but she was right in the target area. Anyway, but there's another shot to Australia. So after 12 of the 18 ends, Australia to a lead of 5 at 12 shots to 7.
I'll tell you what, folks, if you're watching bowls for the first time, I hope this has shown you that there is such a lot happening down on the ring. There's such a lot you've got to think about. You've got to be thinking 2, 3 and sometimes 4 shots in advance. I mean, it's enthralling stuff when you get right into it.
Certainly got to be thinking ahead. You've got to be thinking about the position build. You're trying to put bowls in position so, as I say, creates opportunities for the latter bowls to score, to work off other bowls.
Once again, a good opening bowl there from the Australian lead, Kelsey Cottrell. Just 20 years of age, as we told you, but has 126 international experiences under her belt. So they start him young in Australia. Having said that, they start them young in New Zealand as well. We've talked before about the development program in New Zealand for the schools and under 18s, under 25s.
We talk about the New Zealand pair that are currently playing in Val Smith and Joe Edwards, and they're both in their 40s, their early 40s, but they've been playing bowls for over 20 years, so they too have started at a reasonably young age, and so they've been playing a lot of bowls, a lot of experience, and just some wonderful results too. I mean, World Bowls, which were held in Christchurch, certainly was Val Smith 2 gold medals, Joe Edwards 1 gold medal. And since then, Jo took a year out from bowls just to have a break. She needed a break. She'd played a lot of top-level competition, so wasn't available for the Delhi Games, but has come back with a vengeance. And Christmas time in Dunedin, come away with 2 New Zealand titles. So she's back to her best form.
A sigh of relief from Bowls New Zealand when she decided to go back to the mat?
I think you always welcome somebody of Joe Edwards' quality back into your fold. Well, to put it this way, they're never far from it, are they, when their performances are that great. And even the year that she took away from bowls and she decided to come back and play in one event later on in the year, and that was the champion was the world champion of champions. I just can't recall exactly. I think it was the world champion of champions, and it was played in Australia. And Joe Edwards went over there, and so without a lot of preparation, the World Cup. It was called the World Cup. So there's quite a difference between the World Bowls and the World Cup. But it was the World Cup singles, and it was played on the indoor stadium at on the coast just south of Sydney, south of Wollongong, and went over there and won that event. And she had not played a lot of, so it was just I guess shows the class of Joe Edwards. We're seeing a much better end here from Val Smith. She's got 3 bowls, very much adjacent to the jack. Currently delivering her 4th bowl of forehand. Coming in. We won't be just slightly covered the jack on the forehand, so very good bowl. 4 very good bowls from Val Smith. So we're likely to see Lindsay Armitage play with, and down on the forehand side we'll see her play right through the head. She won't want to leave it, the situation of being 3
before. Have a look from an overhead shot there.
Certainly looks like
New Zealand bowls.
Yes.
Well, Jim's predicted it. Here it comes. I think she might be off target here.
She's on the forehand. Is she off target? Oh, she caught an edge on the front bowl, and Kelsey Cottrell. She's wiggling the fingers, doesn't know whether to put it up or one down. Val Smith is much the same, just not 100% sure whether she's one up or one down. It's very close there from from Lindsay Armitage. Great shot.
Once again, the right result, but slightly off in the application.
She's got a edge on one of the front bowls, but once again was in the target area though.
Oh, just the finest of cuts.
Yes, it was interesting weight that Joe Edwards has played, obviously thinking that she is one down, and I was surprised that she's playing on this occasion. She's just looking, I would have thought, to have turned 1 or 2 of the Val Smith bowls into the head, or perhaps the Australian bowl, and trying to, the bowl that's just been touched, trying to turn that out. May not be quite so advantageous now because the back position is not as good. The last Australian bowl is about 1 metre beyond the jack, and there's another Australian bowl, another yellow Australian bowl about a further metre back from that. Edwards on the forehand, playing with quite a lot of weight on the forehand. Is she on target this time? Certainly is. She's cleaned out the Australian shot bowl. New Zealand holding at least 1, possibly more, possibly 2, possibly even 3.
I thought for a millisecond there she was going to take out her precision, but just missed it by millimetres.
Yes, well that's the class we've been talking about, isn't it?
And what does poor old Lindsay Armitage do here? Because she's only 27, but
yes. She'll be playing with weight down the forehand again as well. So she's on the forehand. Is she on target to the jack?
she's spot on the jack.
Oh, the jack hit the back bowl and has sprung out the side of the rink.
Now, is that a blue bowl out to the side or is it a New Zealand bowl? I think it might be a New Zealand bowl.
I think Val Smith's indicating.
Just having a reposition of our out overview shot of that one. Here's the jack out in no man's land, and that is
It's an
Australian bowl.
blue bowl, which is way towards the back, but yeah, look, they're a long way away. The shots are at least 2 metres away from the jack. Joe Edwards is out on some new territory played on.
Which
And
is
it's
close enough.
Certainly difficult. I'm just not sure whether she's got up enough for a shot. Certainly, this is Lindsay Armitage's last bowl, so it'll be interesting. We'll get an answer from very much on track though.
This is going to negate all our predictions here because this is going to sit by the Australians won the shot bowl.
Certainly holding one there, but it's around about a metre short of the jack, and I think we'll see that Joe Edwards will. Yeah, not quite a metre short of the jack, says Val Smith.
And the other thing, whether it matters or not, there's plenty of open spaces around, so she can draw. You know, she's not going to be impeded by coming off another bowl.
Certainly no other bowls in her way on the forehand draw. I guess what she's determining is worth some shots. And that's why she's asking some questions of Val Smith at the present time. You see Joe Edwards waiting on the mat, waiting for a response from Val Smith. In fact, Joe to the head and have a look. What they're looking at here, Phil, is if New Zealand have second, possibly have third and fourth shot, and if so, 3 or 4 shots. And if it is, Joe Edwards will try and drive it out.
Yep.
If it's only worth 1 shot, she'll try and draw. Because the odds are that draw that. That's she's using a measure, using her arms and her fingers, and what they're doing there is determining between the jack and their bowl, and of course the jack and the opposition's bowl, trying to determine which is the closest one.
Now, just from that overhead shot there, it looked like maybe the Australian was just a whisker in front.
Yes, and if they've got the second, perhaps the third shot.
Because that bowl down on the left, as we watch it from the overhead, that's another Australian bowl, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So the blue bowl to the Australian bowls, they have shots. She's playing with weight. She's decided to get
on
rid
the
of it.
drive. On the drive. What's happened here? She's got the jack straight into the ditch and 3 shots. Well, an interesting result, because I'm sure that she wasn't going the jack in the ditch. That's perhaps the most difficult, but was more so looking to get the shot bowl out for 3 shots. Anyway, the end result is the same, and New Zealand picked up a 3 and have come back into the game. So is this what you've been talking about, Phil, this comeback?
Well, I hope so. I hope so, Tim.
So for the last 3 ends, they've and on that one they pick up a 3, so the scores now, New Zealand have gone up to 10, and Australia still lead, of course, and they're on 12. Great shot from Joe Edwards, Phil.
Unbelievable. But as you so rightly said, Jim, I don't think that was a shot she intended to play.
But it was in the target area.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yes, yeah. wasn't the... But it's in an area which she's trying to go, but I'm sure she was trying to drive out the shot bowl itself, and expected that she had at least possibly more. Anyway, it's made the game very, very close again, and with 5 ends to go and only 2 the difference, we're in for another cliffhanger.
Yeah, it's going to be edge of the seat stuff, all right, here at Waiho Pike. This is the women's final match-up in the pairs. New Zealand have won the previous 2 encounters, but they had to come from way behind to do it. But this one, well, it's been nip and tuck all the way. New Zealand, I should say, over New Zealand, but New Zealand picking up 3 shots in that last end. Does that swing the momentum? Does that give you a little bit more confidence? Bit of a spring in the step?
There's no doubt about it. It's anything which turns the result on the last end. You're walking into the next end, you're feeling confident. You're saying, well, wait a minute, we've had a great end. We just got to consolidate now. And the best thing we can do is put our first bowl close. And
exactly
Smith has done exactly that. So she's got a bowl just behind the jack, just over 1.5 feet, and the second bowl jack level and about the similar distance away. So 2 good bowls to start with on this end from Val Smith. Kelsey Cottrell just coming down the backhand, coming towards the head. Weight looks to be very good. Green just going to hold up, and yes, Kelsey Cottrell looks like she's drawing the shot. Similar distance away to what Val Smith's bowls are.
Bounce away on the backhand. Looking for a good response here. best of the other New Zealand bowl.
Yes, is it going to hold up?
Is it enough? Oh, it might have tipped, and it's... I wouldn't call it.
No, well, and we possibly don't have to as yet, because there is a lot of... And that's the first 5 bowls. But here's the 6th bowl of this, the 14th end.
This is better from Cottrell.
Kelsey Cottrell has drawn the shot. Yeah, very good. A lot of bowls here, Phil, with similar distance away. So it's nobody's writing on top of it.
Well, not yet, Jim.
Well, it's the first one that gets writing on top. That's where it starts to dictate the change.
So we're playing the 14th end of 18, and you can see the score there: Australia 12, New Zealand 10.
Belle Smith, has she got enough weight?
No, not this time.
She's chasing it. It's pulled up around about a metre short. Kelsey Cottrell quickly into her work on the backhand. Once again, it's close in on the head. Stop, just going to run through. Well, so we've got a very tight head. Could be one Australia, perhaps.
Looks that way from our perspective up here in the commentary box.
Picture of some of the crowd here at Waihopai enjoying the sunshine and enjoying the class of bowls that we've been provided with this afternoon.
Now, what's going to be the initial response here from Joe Edwards, Jim?
Draw the shot. Option here, and that is to draw the shot. She'd love to draw it right on top.
That's what she's trying to do, and she looks like she might be on target here.
She's certainly on track. It's just a matter of whether she has sufficient weight. Oh, it's pulling up. Is it good enough to get there? Val Smith says, I like it. Yes, it is.
It is. So that's New Zealand.
That's the one which starts dictating now the way the head is played from here on in. Certainly Lindsay Armitage won't be short of that bowl. Well, she wouldn't want to be short of it, put it that way. When I say she wouldn't want to be short, what does she do?
She's going to be short.
She's going to be short, yeah. But that's not what she was wanting.
No, just caught out maybe by the conditions, the occasion a little bit. Holding one. Which once again on the backhand. This one's got a bit more weight on it, and it's on target for the jack.
She's played another great bowl, Joe Edwards. This is
bowl.
Right on top. Excellent bowl from Joe Edwards. 2 very good bowls. That's the class we expected her to play.
Out comes the from Val Smith, denoting it. I don't know who's watching this more intently, Jim, us or Kelsey Cottrell, because she's right down there looking in the way, tracking, and it's tracking pretty darn well for the Australians too.
Is it ever? How's it going to... Oh, yes, Kelsey says you did. Great bowl, Lindsay. You've... Once again, a very tight head. We've seen a change since over. Joe Edwards has got down and drawn 2 shots. Kelsey Cottrell short. Ball was right on target, so she's reduced the count to 1. Joe Edwards back on the draw.
To the shoulders there from Val Smith. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. This one's going to pull up short.
She was looking for. She was looking to draw another shot and on the head. It's just debatable here, Phil. What is Lindsay Armitage going to play? The shot ball close to the jack. She's got to play with some weight to it, but she doesn't want too much. Doesn't want to disturb her own bowls from the head.
And conversely, I guess she doesn't want to promote. But I think that's what she's going to do here, or is she going to miss everything?
One of the things is she's actually taken one of her, which reduces the odds when it comes down to playing her next bowl, because can't quite play with the same weight, the chances are if she gets her is currently second shot, if that's moved out, possibly could end up 3 down an inch.
Once again, Joe's on the backhand. Going to be short too, I think.
Still coming though, Phil. Still coming. It's going to be close.
Is that going to stay there?
She has actually altered the head. She's moved the shot bowl, has turned it up slightly, and it moved the jack. My suggestion is they're possibly holding 3 shots.
Yeah, to my untrained eye, I'd say you're absolutely spot on.
Lindsay Armitage going back to the mat says, well, maybe we've got the 3 back bowls now. Place some weight down through this end, so
they're looking to promote the jack further back.
On the backhand side, oh, she's playing. What's going to happen? A lot of short bowls up front which she come off, and the end result is she's actually taken 2 of the shots out and reduced the count to 1. Yeah, so probably an unfortunate result, but once again, you got weight, so you've got opportunity. On to New Zealand anyway, and so 4 ends to go we have, and New Zealand have scored, so they go to 11. Australia remain on 12, so there's 1 the difference with 4 ends to go. Very close game, Phil.
Very close indeed. And once again, we've seen it twice now from each of the teams, that probably not the exact shot they were looking for, but one.
Yes, she was quite narrow as the ball was coming down, playing with weight, and as I said, there was a lot of opportunities. All the back bowls were in her favour, so just looking to disturb the head and spring the jack back, but of course got a bit tight and into the front bowls, and there's opportunities off them.
So Val delivering the first of end number 15. Remember, we're playing 18 ends here in this pairs competition. 12 to Australia, 11 to... In a great opening bowl.
Great opening bowl from Val Smith. That's the one that set the pattern of the head. If you get that first one close, but the opportunity here for Kelsey Cottrell's also going down on the forehand though. She's got a little... See the jack. Is she going to come back in time? Just going to go and beyond the head.
So once again, we may see that bowl come into play a little bit later on in this head building process.
Val Smith, all concentration on the mat, playing with the dark sun. Won't be unhappy with that bowl, which is once again gone and just beyond the head. Kelsey Cottrell on the forehand as well, looking to come in towards the jack. Is she going to move it? No, once again she's got a little bit of weight on. It's gone through at least a metre through past the head. So you would say advantage New Zealand at this stage of the head. Closest ones. It's a matter of how it ends up, of course.
I think Val likes to look at this.
She will not want to the jack back to the Australian bowls, and what has she done exactly? She will be with that bowl. Certainly in that area, but just not quite that amount of weight. So all the advantage, which was in New Zealand's favour in the early, has just changed a little bit because the 2 Canary bowls and the head have come into play very quickly.
Is this another backstop put in here by...
Well, we see every time this is played in this direction, Kelsey Cottrell has put her bowls in past the head, and on a number of occasions they've come so the jack has been moved. Val Smith says, I'm not going to again, I've got to take a little bit more green. Joe Edwards looking He played a magnificent bowl. You turned the jack slightly back up towards those other bowls, so I'm currently holding to. What a great bowl.
A high five there as the weight comes in here from Cockrell. Spread them asunder. Now, has she helped her cause here, Jim?
Well, yes, she has. Yes, because number one, well, he hasn't got two bowls directly on top of the jack. What we've got now is the jack is actually back, and there are no bowls or possibly 4 metres of it, 4 or 5 metres. So it's over to the skips now to see who's the best draw player.
Who can get closest to the ditch?
Who can
without falling in?
Without going into the ditch. Can't go in the ditch because the bowl cannot be a toucher. Now the jack is in the ditch, so there can be no more touches. And so it's a matter of drawing as close to the edge of the ditch without going in. The players have given us an indication as to where the jack is in the ditch by placing a bowl directly above it on the bank. And that's what Joe Edwards will be looking at, is that area, trying to land a bowl on the green just short of the ditch. Their first bowl, which has come down, is absolutely nowhere near it. That's possibly 5 metres short of the ditch, so got a bit of work to do.
So I guess Armitage can key off that last bowl and say, well, I need a bit more weight. I've got to get a little bit closer than 5 metres.
She'll want to get closer. She will not want to go into the ditch with her first bowl, because the first bowl is the one they were working off with to try and get their distance for the weight.
She has got closer.
She got closer. She's about 2 metres off the ditch, because we can see the T mark on the green, and that is 2 metres out from the ditch. Joe Edwards is looking to draw a shot on the forehand.
We'll come back.
She's passed her first bowl.
Yes.
Smith
has just indicated to us that that's the shot. So that's where she's looking to go, and then she can build on it from there. So that's the closest bowl. Lindsay Armitage coming down the forehand. She will want to give it a little bit more weight, which she has done.
And she wants to just go inside the New Zealand before the edge of the ditch. She's going to get inside it, or she's going to touch it. Oh!
Just fell short of it. Fell short, so it's still one shot to Joe Edwards.
Once again, we talked about it in the men's game, the adaptability. You've got to shift from the focus is get it right onto the jack, which is right in the middle of the green, but now it's in the ditch. You kind of, for those first couple of bowls anyway, bowling blind.
Well, you're a little bit timid. You don't want to build it, and ideally you start from a position that you're just not quite there, because if you're just too heavy, you can't count, you know. And of course, what happens is when the jack is moved out to the side as to where it is, they start to play on some territory which has not been played on before, part of the green which has been played on for some time. It will run a little differently, and it's a matter of adjusting to the weight and finding a line as well out in that direction. So we see Lindsay Armitage's bowl. How's her weight? She got too much. Ooh. Joe Edwards' bowl, but she's gone on the ditch. She's just moved it a lot closer. One to New Zealand. Val Smith jumps out onto the green and says, "I'd like a bowl here, about short of the jack, short of the ditch."
You just saw in that overhead shot the jack just peeking it out of the ditch, and the New Zealand bowl right in line with it.
Joe Edwards has come up short again. Just one bowl left to play on. That's the 15th end. Lindsay Armitage and her lead. Kelsey Cottrell is down on the head and saying, play with a little bit of weight to the shot bowl and try and tip the shot bowl into the ditch. She can't see it directly to drive, but she can play with weight to try and tip the shot bowl into the ditch and stay there herself.
And that's what she's done, but I think she's going to be a little skinny here.
A little skinny, and she didn't have the weight which was requested. So, hey, we have a tied game. 15 ends. We are 12 all, so in the race through to 18 ends, 3 of them to go, all squared up at 12 all.
Val Smith delivers the jack in end number 16.
Just wondering, Phil, whether one of your predictions earlier on in the game, you said the New Zealand team are used to coming from behind, and yes, and you were predicting that they would go again. So after the early stages, it was all very close. After 7 ends, it was 5 all. After 11 ends, though, Australia just threes and went to a lead of 11 shots to 7. Scored another on the next end to go to 12 to 7. But the last 3 ends, a 3 when Joe Edwards drove the jack into the ditch, a single again the following end and the following end after that. So they picked up 5 shots in the last 3 ends.
The momentum. Blackjack's comeback.
The momentum, is it starting?
The pendulum swings again the other way this time, perhaps. We will find out. Opening bowl is a good one. It's an even better response from Kelsey Cottrell.
Val Smith on the mat. As we've seen the whole game, I'm not sure Val Smith has actually played on the other side of the rink coming in this direction. Every shot has been on the backhand, and the majority of shots from both players have been on the backhand. But you won't be happy with that one. It's a good meet for the jack, not where she intended, which leaves it open for Kelsey Cottrell to build on her first bowl, which is shot. Put another one just going a little quick. Once again, putting those back bowls in.
We mentioned before that Kelsey Cottrell, just 20 years of age, she got a start in the sport thanks to her mum. So I guess you hear stories like that all the time, Jim.
Well, a lot of people were influenced either by their friends or their family into the sport, and the Tarangi Bowling Club last night in Invercargill, and we spoke about all those things which they're trying to do to influence some people to come and have a crack at their sport and sport of bowls, and part of it is talking to others and encouraging them to come along and have a go and enjoy the game, see if it's for them, because it might be a sport. So so we're hopeful that the Tarangi Bowling Club are going to try some of those methods to boost their membership.
Interesting, she notes Karen Murphy is the best player she's ever competed against and the hardest competitor she's ever played against, because she said you just can't make a mistake because Karen never misses.
Yes, well, it's very surprising. Karen Murphy got to be just about the best, have the best record in Australia in bowls, and just a marvellous record. And of course, she didn't go off to the Delhi Commonwealth Games. She wasn't selected in the. Of course, hasn't been selected for this TransTasman event. So perhaps the days of Karen Murphy playing at international level have stopped. I'm not sure. I presume she's still available. It's something. It is a changing scene, and I guess it's like when Karen started on the scene, and she became very dominant. She was quite young when she started, and then of course Australia, and I would have it to guess possibly around 20 odd years she played for Australia, so it was a long time.
And quite a frequent visitor to these shores.
I love coming over here. Very good friends with Joe Edwards. And I guess that's come about through the number of games they've played against each other over, well, as I say, at least 20 odd years. So the players were competitive on the bowling green. They're equally as passionate and talking about the game afterwards, and enjoying a social occasion with each other.
All of Val Smith's shot here as Joe Edwards mounts her attack. There's the skip.
Here's Joe Edwards' bowl coming towards the head, but just going to get caught in the short one. Didn't have enough weight to reach the head. So Lindsay looking to retrieve the situation, and so Lindsay's got to play a good shot here to get shot, but first of all she'll be looking to build it and make it look better. Looks to be on track. Kelsey Cottrell's clapping her hands, saying you've got a good bowl. Rest on the shot bowl, but just short. Excellent bowler. Excellent attempt.
Val Smith saying to Joe Edwards, just put it just about jack high, just in behind that Australian bowl. That'll do me nicely. What's Joe going to do here? She's got a bit much weight on it.
She has got a bit much weight, but won't be unhappy that her bowl has actually gone towards the back and matches up with the back Australian bowl, the canary coloured bowl. So we see Lindsay Armitage coming towards the head on the backhand. Has she got enough weight? Played a very good attempt, just went just past the outside, just slightly too quick, but Kelsey says, that'll do me, I'm happy, in the area.
If anything, perhaps she's covered Joe's last bowl there as well.
Yes, the chances of the jack going back are not great because of the positioning of the bowls, but you never know in this game. Joe Edwards, Val Smith's clapping this bowl, says this is where we want one. It's coming. I would suggest. Yeah, the players are not quite sure. They're possibly two down, says Kelsey. What that does though is actually creates the last bowl that's come in is sitting just past the head, but it gives Lindsay Armitage an opportunity to rest on it if she has the weight. Not quite.
Well done.
Smith just giving instructions there to Joe Edwards. She's just resting her foot beside that last New Zealand bowl. She said, put another one there and that'll do us quite nicely. Joe Edwards says, whatever you want, Val, I can do that.
So it's her last opportunity in this end to the scoreboard.
Break the dread, the tie here.
The tie,
she hasn't done it though.
Just underneath. So one more bowl to come from Australian Lindsay Armitage. My suggestion, Phil, is she's only really got the one opportunity to draw the shot, so and not a lot of space to draw it in. But there are really no other opportunities within there.
Well, I think you're right, because I don't think from her perspective she could see the jack because there's too many bowls covering it.
Too many bowls in front. Yeah, which make it very awkward to, when you're on the mat, to see the actual head and see where you're going. Just gone out a little wide, it's going to sit out a little wide. Affect the head. One shot New Zealand, yes, both the leads have agreed, one shot to New Zealand, so we're now down to the second last end, and New Zealand taken the lead. It's been quite a while since New Zealand were in the lead. Way back on the ninth end they were leading. So it's taken them another 7 ends to get back in front, and they're now in front, shots to 12.
2 ends to go. What's going to happen? What is going to happen? Am I going to... Is we going to see the much vaunted Blackjacks come back? Or are we going to see a resurgent Australia come back again?
We've got a scenario here thrown by Val Smith, and they're just questioning whether they've got it up sufficient distance. And the distance that they've got to have it up is 23 metres. So they've called for the umpire, who will get some assistance as well to measure the distance between the front of the mat and the jack.
Well, it's the first time we've seen the big tape today.
I think it's the first time I've seen it out in the whole event on any of the games. So out having
The officials literally having their moment in the sun, because the sun continues to beat down here at Waihopai of Invercargill, and this is an absolute one out of the box weather-wise. And I hope everyone watching out on the grandstands are and wrapping. This is very important. If you don't do it now, you're sure going to pay for it when you get a bit older. Now, is it the distance? No.
So the jack's not up the required 23 metres.
So what happens now, Jim?
So now it's left to the Australian team, and the immediate thing that they're back, and Lindsay Armitage has said, I want the jack right up here, which is up near just short of the 2 metre mark.
Which is exactly where Kelsey's put it.
And so they've changed the length of the head, because there's been quite a number of short heads played in this direction over the recent part of the game. So the head is, the length has changed quite considerably. So it's a matter of an adjustment from both leads, and Val Smith is the first to go off, so she'll want very close with her first one to set the pattern.
She's going to come up short here.
Yeah. It can happen when you haven't played a lot of balls to that length, and it's the first to adjust. And at one shot different on the scoreboard, it's a crucial time to get it right.
The pressure.
Yeah, we see Kelsey Cottrell on the same hand and falling into the same trap.
Same thing.
See, it's part of the green once again that they haven't played some time, so the weed actually sits up, so it makes it just a little bit harder. They've got to put more weight in than what they expect.
Well, you mentioned it before that the Waihopai Club have done a fantastic job with the preparation of these greens, but as you say, if the ball hasn't been down them, it's texture. This is a better one.
Yes. Yeah, much better ball here from Val Smith. Gary Dude says, yep, I'm happy with that. The hand goes raised in the air and the finger. Yeah, well done, Val.
13-12, New Zealand in front of Australia. 17 of 18. Now what happens, now you know this question's coming, what happens if there's a draw?
It's a draw.
It's a draw, just like that, we don't play sudden death?
A draw is a draw, so the result. So as we said after this morning, it was one game each after this morning, so a draw can work in your favour, but it can also work. So you're looking, I'm just going to do some sums here, just to check it out. Yeah, we had Australian singles player was Kelsey Cottrell beat Jan Kahn this morning 21-13, so there's a differential there of 13 shots, whereas the New Zealand 4 skipped by Joe Edwards won their game but only won it by 2 shots. So at this stage Australia are 11 shots ahead of New Zealand, and so New Zealand's in the position that they would to win either both of the games or at least win one and draw one. Wouldn't that be enough? That wouldn't be enough. No, they'd have to win both the games.
So they don't want to draw?
A draw with New Zealand.
In the overall scheme of the test?
In relation to the women's test series, the women have actually won the test series, their test series anyway, but on the overall, needs one win this afternoon to win the overall trophy. And as I look across the scoreboards, across the green, there is only one game where New Zealand is ahead, and they've well behind to get in front. And they're currently, with 3 ends to play, in the men's pairs up 23 shots to 19. So it does make a big difference. It could be the decider of the overall test series.
Well, that's right. We should probably point out that while we're concentrating on our televised rink, if you like, there is another 2 games going on adjacent. And you'll see sometimes when the jack gets a bit wayward, or some of the bowls from the pairs get a bit wayward, a bit of an interaction between the two. But no wayward bowls so far. Some great bowls in the opening couple of shots there from Smith, and some equal equally good counters coming in from Kelsey Cottrell. So let's not talk draw, Jim, let's think outright win.
Yeah, well, I did make a slight mistake too. I said there's only one game where New Zealand is ahead, but of course the game that we were actually watching on our television, New Zealand is ahead by 13 shots to 12, so we're getting a little distracted by what's happening out on the sideline. We should be meant to be concentrating on here, which is Australia, New Zealand in the pairs and the Test series, and so far in the pairs games, New Zealand have won. Both been very tight games, so as we see Joe Edwards playing on the backhand side and is looking to cover a lot of the Australian bowls which are just in beyond the head. Once again, she's out on territory which hasn't been played on before and hasn't ended up where she would have wanted. She would have wanted her at least on that and more indirectly and behind the head.
Conversely, Lindsay Armitage has decided to stay on the forehand because she thinks she can get the shot here.
Yes, well, Lindsay Armitage ideally is looking to sit down on the jack or the bowls, and she's actually just rubbed off a couple of the New Zealand bowls. Has she reduced the count? Difficult to say. Could still be 2 to New Zealand, but here's Val Smith calling. So you can see where she's placed her foot. She's Joe Edwards to put a bowl on that spot because she believes that is where the danger is.
Kind of a smile from Joe Edwards, but no grimace either.
I think she should be smiling. Have a look at this.
I think she
That's
should.
That's exactly where she was asking for a bowl to be positioned, so it's given some cover.
We talked before about the almost telepathic powers between Joe and Val. I suppose it's just a kind of kink one way on the body or the other, and they know immediately if one is pleased or displeased.
Yes, I think there are a lot of internal smiles. Can't see them visibly, but I'm sure inside them there's a smile there saying, "Hey, yes, we're happy."
No.
So Joe Edwards on the mat on her backhand again. I think she'd be just looking to give it a little bit more weight to get beyond the head, because as we look at it now, there are currently Australian bowls over the head, whereas New Zealand it's the back, and so that's really where the danger is. Now it's not easy to pick up the jack. Still a shot that you've got to cover.
This one's coming in with a little bit more weight from Lindsay Armitage. Pick up the jack.
She's getting a lot of turn on this bowl, and she's just turned it. Probably not what she's wanting. She's almost blocked the jack from going back to the position where all the Australian bowls are, back on the left-hand side, as we're looking at the head from this direction.
So it's a bit of a double whammy here, isn't it? Not only has she promoted the New Zealand bowl, but she's sort of thwarted the progress of what we think will have trailed.
Absolutely, yes. So it hasn't improved the head from the Australian perspective. So, and it's forced Joe Edwards now out onto the forehand. I'm pretty sure she'd be happy about that, because certainly played a lot more bowls down that side of the rink and have more comfortable over in that direction. Set out a little wide, but is in the area.
I think Australian ladies deep in conversation down at the head, and why wouldn't they be?
Well, they've got a problem. They've got a big problem with this end, because the last bowl has turned the shot bowl into that position, which blocks the trail. But what we may see is more of a weighted shot to try and disturb the thing and perhaps even kill the end. Let's has just decided to do. So she's facing up on the mat, pointing in the backhand direction. My suggestion is there's going to be some weight on this bowl. Not a lot, and I'm not sure she's got that out on the right line at all.
She hasn't. She's going to miss everything here.
Right underneath there. She did play with weight, but it's just perhaps not quite what we were anticipating. So we're just waiting for the leads to decide, is it one shot or is it two shots to New Zealand? Definitely one.
going to go to the measure again.
We're going to go to the measure. So
Second shot.
Will Smith. So this is going to give a lead of at least 2 going into the final end, Phil, and interesting, but just puts New Zealand in the better position.
And you laughed at my prediction.
Yeah, it's terrible, isn't it? Don't you hate it?
Oh, there you are. So what's the outcome? 2?
Just waiting to get. Certainly is 2 to New Zealand, so New Zealand have gone out to a 15-12 lead, playing the last end 3 shots up, so a big difference. And as I just recollected a couple of ends ago that New Zealand scored 3 ends in a row, they've now scored 5 ends in a row. The last 5 ends, and they've picked up 3, a 1, another 1 and a 2, so 6-8 shots in the last 5 ends, 7-12 down, 12 up. This has happened in the other games that they've played in the pairs games. They've come from this position of being behind and have finished very strongly.
And if we get a 16-12 scoreline, that's I think the same score as the first test match.
That's right.
But who's to say we will? Who's to say the Australians 4 and make it a contest?
I think if we have a look over the last few ends and we see that Val Smith has come onto her game and she is getting one of her bowls very close to the jack, and that has dictated the ends that have been played. And I mean, we talked about that early in the game, and that's what a pairs game is all about, is getting that first bowl close. And it's proven it in the last few ends that Val Smith has been on top of Kelsey Cottrell, and just making a difference, you know, and it's setting it up. And Val and Joe Edwards is saying, well, you know, you're doing the right thing. If I can just cover the positions and so we don't drop any bundles.
Well, they certainly haven't dropped any bundles today. The scoring's been very close, certainly. 10 or so ends anyway. Are we going to be close here? This is another perfect bowl.
Another perfect bowl from Val Smith, just in behind the head. Great shot, and that's put the pressure back on the Australians.
So this is the 18th of 18 ends we're playing now. This all-important pairs match. New Zealand versus Australia. The Blackjacks, New Zealand, the Aussies.
What a response from Kelsey Cottrell. Look at that. What a great shot. Excellent bowl. The canary yellow bowl just adjacent to the jack. One shot Australia. But it won't deter Val Smith. She'll just get down and says close as well.
And what'll be going through Kelsey Cottrell, Lindsay Armitage's mind is they know that she can do it. That she can do it. Is she going to do it here, though?
Is she going to do it? Is she negotiated the front? Oh,
she has.
Got on the edge on it, but nearly turned it in for 2 shots to do that. She says, I don't mind if you turn my bowls in. I'd be happy.
No, you do that any time.
Yeah. Foster some TransTasman relations. You help me out.
So he's got
You can see Joe Edwards there saying, I'd just like a bowl just in beyond the head where a foot is placed. Says, yes, I'll do my best. On the backhand, the bowl's halfway down. Has she got enough green? Gone in slightly under the head. Weight was pretty good. Joe says that's not all bad.
Now, is this going to be the last act that Kelsey Cottrell plays in this game? Because that's her fourth bowl.
Yes, that's the leads. They've done their 4 bowls, and the only way they get any more bowls is if either Joe Edwards or Lindsay Armitage decide that they've got to attack and kill their head. Very difficult one to kill because the jack is actually very close to the 2 metre marks, and it's quite often that is difficult to kill from that position because the jack is likely to go straight back and in the ditch. So, but at this stage, not likely to see an attacking bowl from either of the two skips. We're just going to see Jo Edwards. She's got to get as close as she can to try and make it more difficult for the Australians.
Jim Scott, Lower North Island Bowls Development Manager and expert comments man here in our coverage of the TransTasman Test Series for 2000. This is a fantastic opening bowl.
Have a look at this one, Phil.
This is a fantastic opening bowl.
Has she made it? Just still one down, but Val, we wanted a bowl. Another bowl close on the head. Has it forced a change in the thinking of the Australians? It's certainly not trying to draw another shot. She's going to attack. Comes down on the forehand, a run shot through on the forehand, reasonably quick. End result, the end result is not great for...
It is not
good for Australia.
1, 2, 3, possibly 4?
Certainly holding 2. Val Smith says certainly we've got 2 shots, but she'll have a look at the back of the head. A couple of Australian bowls are right at the back of the head, and we need to get in amongst those. But what a disastrous result. She wasn't actually on target, but sometimes you can get the right result. Bowls. She was in the area where she was looking to go, but more looking to get the jack and kill the jack, or get the jacker back towards her own bowls, towards the back of the head. And this bowl is coming in. I don't think she could have picked it up and placed it any better than that. That's a marvellous bowl from Jo Edwards. It's given her the back shot, and now it's forced to trying to kill the end. And
as you mentioned before, Jim, they've got to be pretty precise. If they don't get this right,
it's a very difficult shot. The jack is not very big, and she's got to try and move the jack over to the other side of the ring.
Missed everything.
Yeah, it wasn't a very close bowl. Now Val Smith says out onto the green and says, I need a bowl out here. There's a couple of bowls out the side. We just need to cover those. The chances of us dropping 3 out there are not great, but we at least want to cover.
That's exactly what Jo Edwards is doing. It's going to land right by Val Smith's foot. Exactly where she wanted it to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, she won't be unhappy with that one again. So that's some excellent bowls, 3 excellent bowls from Jo Edwards. Kelsey Cottrell. Lindsay Armitage on the drive. This time she's pulled it in. Oh, she's got her own ball out. Currently 3 down and in all sorts of trouble.
Now we're going to see Jo draw again here, aren't we? But the Aussie, I suppose, you've got to go for broke again.
Well, they've got no option. Got no option here, Phil. The only chance is to kill the end. They have no other chance of getting... And particularly as Jo Edwards has put her last bowl exactly where Val Smith has asked her, out an area covering, but it's only covering a couple of the Australian bowls. There's no chance of a 3 out in that area.
But let's have a look at the holding 3. They've got everything covered. Here comes the drive in again. Has she got it this time? She's missed it again.
It was close though, Phil, and 3 shots to the New Zealand pair, and I have to say that your prediction earlier on the game from behind has been great. You've got it right, and they've scored on the last 6 ends, and 3 there, but it takes them out to 18 shots to 12. So a New Zealand victory in the pairs match, and that gives them a 3-zip result in the pairs.
Well, fantastic bowls here at Waihopai. It's part of the TransTasman Test Series, New Zealand versus Australia for 2011, and you heard the wrap up there from Jim. Brilliant bowling, just pinpoint accuracy from the New Zealanders, and a gallant display from the young Australians as well, Lindsay Armitage and Kelsey Cottrell. But the victors are the Blackjacks, Jo Edwards and Val Smith. We'll be going down to talk to them very shortly, but for the moment, we'll take a small break.
Silverhorn is proud as you have never seen it before. Stunning aerial footage of the North Island and majestic fjordland.
New Zealand's scenery is simply breathtaking, diverse and compact. The moments that take your breath away and less about the number of breaths you take.
New Zealand The Natural Way DVD is available for you to purchase. It would make an excellent gift to friends abroad or to tug at the heartstrings of expats. Only $25 including postage anywhere in New Zealand, or $29 posted worldwide. Purchase your DVD now by phoning 0800 502 or visit silverhorn.co.nz.
Champions in their own words, an interview with Sir Peter Snell, Saturday 12th of 30 p.m, repeats 13th of March at 2 p.m. and 11 p.m.
Hi, it's me. I've just been to Super Framers in the Bank Art Gallery.
I'm just playing with some of those silly corners so I can make up my mind how to frame this print.
While I was there, I took that photo they restored for me back to get framed. It was fantastic. They have this amazing system which lets you see the whole thing finished on your wall with thousands of combinations.
Super Framers and the Bank Art Gallery, 21 The Crescent in the Cargo.
Well, Kelsey, Lindsay, another hard-fought competition in the women's pairs cuffs. I'll go to you first. Do you think the difference was in the lead?
In a game, the lead is very important to get there first. They really dictate how the end's going to be played, whether we can play aggressive or we've got to be a bit defensive. And unfortunately, I didn't have my best day today, and Val was played very, very well as she does. She's a world champion, so get over the top of her, but it could have gone either way.
And Lindsay, some amazing shots in the last 5 or 6 ends. You guys look like you're coming back, you're getting back on top.
I was pretty confident that we could sort of get over the line. Sort of Kelsey did have balls in the area even if we didn't have shots, so I still had options on, and I had a few conversions go against us. And they got a bit of a roll on, but yeah, as Kelsey said, it could have gone either way, and unfortunately today it went the way of the Kiwis again.
Joe and Val, firstly, congratulations on sweeping the pairs against the Aussies. Must feel pretty good.
Yeah, it certainly does. You know, we played against 3 different combinations in the 3 days, so to come away with 3 wins, we're wrapped.
Fellow commentator up there, Jim Scott, was saying that in the previous 2 you guys had to come from behind, but this one was close all the way.
Yeah, I think in the previous 2 games we did a good start. Like today we got off to a better start, so it was able to be a lot more competitive right throughout the game, where the previous 2 days it probably took us a wee while, especially me up front, to find the kind of side of the green in the windy conditions. But because the conditions were a little bit kinder today, I was able to pick a side and can get balls a lot more handy and give Joe an easier run rather than having to fight.
And was that the building block? Because both Jim and myself thought that you outplayed Kelsey in the job of lead.
The thing in the game of pairs, if the lead can get on top of your opponent, I mean, it does certainly makes it takes pressure off the skip. You know, Joe plays very well under pressure, but so help them out, and it certainly helps to go towards winning the game if you can sort of outplay the opposing lead.
A couple of bowls from the Waihope Bowling Club in Invercargill. It's all been part of the 2011 TransTasman Challenge. We showed you the men's singles, and that was a win to New Zealand's Shannon McElroy. And then in the women's pairs, it was the New Zealanders to the fore again with Val Smith and Joe Edwards. On behalf of all the crew that brought it to you, thanks for watching, and I hope we see you again next time we go bowling.
Who's that? Yeah, Melanie Midnight, the house cow we never managed to milk. Yeah, chicken.
Henderson Bowls in Auckland, New Zealand once again plays host to the Trust for 2011. This is week 4. It is the Trust men's singles. Dennis Katsanos with commentator Grant Nisbet. And Grant, a real tale of experience versus with Neil Fisher up against Monty Power.
Yeah, it doesn't get much different, does it? You've got an 18-year-old, a very promising young fellow, hasn't been playing bowls very long. Quite clearly, when you're against a 62-year-old with vast experience, a former finalist, beaten finalist, so what a contrast.
Grant, I know you remember that game in 2009. It was 2 to Neil Fisher, and Richard Gervin paved his way back into the game and ended up winning it by 21-20. So Neil Fisher will not want a repeat of that at all, will he?
No, it's heartbreaking lead and throw it away like that. Once again, game, it's been really windy throughout the 2 days of finals here at Henderson, so that's going to be one thing to look at, just how these players can cope with.
One thing you touched on in our little bit of a preview last week was some of the opponents that Monty had knocked out at the tender age of 18. Bowlers that he's dismissed to make it to this final.
Yeah, we'll have a look at the marker. Tony Grantham, who's a current New Zealand player, he's the marker today. He was beaten by Monty in the semi-final, so he has a first-hand knowledge of how this young player goes. He's a very, very good player.
As we mentioned, singles, and then we have 2 more weeks of bowls. We get into the triples, the Comfort Pro Triple. And then on the 27th, just after Christmas, it is the women's. And Grant Nisbet, I've asked occasion, which way are you leaning on this one? This particular one, the men's singles.
The men's singles, all right. Well, I did Monty semi-final against Tony. Very, very impressive. Look, I really don't know. It's too tough. What I will predict, I think it'll be really tight.
Well, Neil Fisher missed out in 2009. He was runner-up. He let a 13-2 lead slip away. Will he do the same today in the men's singles final?
Wearing the black is Monty Power, delivering the jack there on this very first end, and his opponent is Neil Fisher. So it's the first to 21, and joining me is Terry Scott.
Yes, certainly a great opportunity for the young fella, Monty Power. 18 years of age, already representing New Zealand at age group level, the last 2 years in the New Zealand under-18 team against Australia in the TransTasman series. Won't have it all his own way when he's up against a fellow with the experience of Neil Fisher. 62 years of age, what a vast difference it is in age, but it shows that this sport and game can be played at all levels. I think we're in for a pretty exciting match. If we look at the opening bowl from Monty Power, and if that's going to be what we're going to see for an hour and a half, it's certainly going to be great.
Well, it's certainly fine overhead here at Henderson for this men's final, but the players are going to have to contend with blustery winds, which can make it very difficult indeed.
Yes, we've certainly seen it throughout the finals that have already been played, the effect that it has had on the bowls. And once again, the players are adopting the side of the green that has traditionally been the more favourable side to play, just running a little bit quicker, get some finish on the bowls, and perhaps not as affected by the wind as what the other side. Each bowler having 4 bowls, and the first to 21 shots. Certainly we'll see a different line that these 2 bowls take throughout the course of their journey towards the jack. Monty Power, the Henselite Tiger 2 bowl, which will take some more draw than the Drake's Pride Corsair bowl that Neil Fisher is playing with. Just only, well, within 6 months ago, but hasn't used them too often.
He's on a pretty good line there, but just falling a couple of feet short. Player, of course, and it looks like Monty Power's come up well short on this occasion, so he's had 3. Asking the marker what the position is.
Just Neil Fisher holding the one shot on the mat now. Third bowl, the red bowls.
So away goes Fisher's last bowl.
This bowl here.
And just running through. They just keep on travelling. So just going to check here. It's maybe just a little bit tighter.
Sorry about that, bud.
So it looks like Palmer might have actually got the shot there.
Yes, well, an early indication was that Neil Fisher had the one shot. However, it was Monty Power who picked up the one shot, and well, he's out of the blocks.
Very good crowd in attendance here for this men's singles final. A tremendous amount of interest in the 18-year-old.
Yes, I understand that a considerable number of people travelled down from the far north to be here to support Monty today.
Just running out of excellent line, as you can see. Yeah, good enough. Still a couple of feet short, but good enough for shot.
Still got the shot.
Yes, well, our marker Tony Grantham, I'm sure he'll the correct choice on this occasion. Unfortunately for him, he gave the wrong indication on the first end to Neil Fisher, and had a little bit of a frown on his face as he walked down the sideline, realising the mistake that he had made. However, it's better to make that mistake now than on the final.
Jack.
He's hit Jack, and he's close to getting the Jack.
He knew that that was his only. Had too much weight, as we can see the bowls drifting through to the back of the rink.
gets round that bowl, he might be close, but just running through a wee bit. So the shot to Monty
Situation,
Power.
please. Still got one.
Yeah, that's a good bowl. That's a very good bowl. So he's got a couple. And Fisher has one. Coming down here on a much tighter line. Now, anything could happen here. He could work it off his own bowl. And, well, he could miss everything as well. And that's precisely. And so Power will pick up a couple here and establish an early 3-0 lead in the men's final.
Yep.
Two more for Monty Power Jr. He leads 3-0.
Power on this, the third end. The ends don't count, it's the first at 21. Wanting to keep it tight because Neil Fisher, a very experienced bowler, played in the Trust now for a number of years. This New Zealand Open event, lost the final of it 2 years ago when he was beaten by Richard Gervin in a very, very close game. So he's had the experience of a finals play in this environment, whereas Monty Power really is the new kid on the block.
Jack.
Well, he wanted the jack again, but all he succeeded in doing was pushing Fisher up. Yeah, for two.
Two down to that.
He's asking Tony Grantham,
Two down.
who ironically he beat in the semi-final.
Yes, he did. Played very, very well in that game, and some extremely tough conditions in a very, very tough rink, and Monty.
He's coming up with a bit of weight on here. So what's he looking for?
Get.
He's looking. Well, he's pushed one out, and he stayed live too. So the job here of Neil Fisher will be to try and put it back in there, and that's exactly what he's done.
Two shots to Neil Fisher. I'm sure we'll look at Monty changing to the play with some weight. He's now got the insurance at the back. His last ball going right to near the edge. Weight on his backhand.
Looking for the jack. Look. Yep, and is it going to stay in? That's the question. It is on the line. So it's still live.
Well, this is a
I reckon it's in, but you tell me.
Very, very much a great chance for Neil Fisher to pick up some shots. Unfortunately for Monty Power, the jack went right out to the edge of the rink. You could see the frown on his face there. Neil Fisher's probably holding 3 shots. Opportunity for 4. Doesn't have to change too much of what he's done before. He won't be wanting to go too wide. A chance for him to pick up the 4. You can see the jack there on the right on the chalk line, indicating that it is still in and holding 3 shots at the moment.
Yeah, I think, has he given it? He probably has.
Hey, umpire long, Dave.
Yeah, check it.
Measuring for the...
I think so, definitely.
Maybe 4.
Definitely 2, and I
No, measure.
certainly looks to be 4 from us.
I'm going to take
looking
that
here. But
It's between that and then these other one. And that one back there.
2 bowls have been taken out.
Whoa, goodness gracious me. Give me the blunt end. Which one are we doing?
But unlucky on that one.
Yeah, just a tad.
Just next,
Just need
yeah.
to roll over one more. That's alright. At least I got it.
So that's Power's closest bowl. They've only taken 2 out so far.
Might be 4, I think.
Well, that looks to be well in, or does it?
Yeah.
Yep, that's well in.
Then this one over here. That's 3, then that one.
Certainly looks to be 4 to me.
Oh yes, easy.
Okay. 4, mate.
So he's got the full house. 4 for Neil Fisher. So 4-3, Fisher in the race to 20. Wants it to run it out. Wants it to run it out. And, well, maybe. Now the marker's going to have to make another call here.
Definitely 1 down. So measure for the second.
Fisher not afraid to ever attack. A situation here that he's got to be very careful he doesn't, if he does, that he doesn't gap and take his own bowls out. He'd end up 3 down.
Making a very good job of
Now, bowls at its best. Outstanding.
Well, he was a bit undecided what to do there. Initially he was going to go forehand, wasn't he?
He certainly looked as though he was going to play forehand, try and remove the shot bowl. I think he realised that danger attached to it and immediately changed, but they undrew it on the backhand.
Come down with some weight here, but it was always a bit narrow.
What did I do?
Probably got one.
So Neil Fisher with his last bowl certainly got one foot of tape on it.
Yeah, I'll give you one.
Yep.
Yep. So he gets one. Neil Fisher with that excellent last bowl. So he leads by 5-3. Fisher on the mat. He leads. Yeah, good tidy stuff.
How far short am I, Tony? Am I up or down?
You're up.
I'm up.
Neil Fisher with his third bowl, definitely holding one shot. He only just asked if he was up and down. He wasn't too concerned as to the number. Looks like it could be.
It's pretty consistent, isn't he? Same area.
Tony.
Yes, he's picking the line of it very well, so we can see from those 3 bowls that he has already played. They're not drifting away too far, so he's found the green relatively early in the game.
3 down.
Power coming up short again himself on this end. 3 down, and Neil Fisher playing his last. Got the fortunate break a couple of innings ago, picking up a 4, and would dearly love to repeat that again.
This might be the best of all. It is. He nudged it far enough.
Yeah, situation now,
please. Just 1.
1 down.
Cool. Yeah, well, it's a little bit unfortunate for Neil Fisher. He played the best bowl of the end, but unfortunately, movement of the jack reduced the count to 1.
So Monty Power's last bowl going down. You want to at least reach the head. Swing in and grab the jack. Right, but damage not too great on the head. And shifting the jack means he gets 1 and advances his lead to 6-3. 21 is the ultimate target.
If you or your parents are considering a move to retirement living but don't know where to begin, take the first step today. Call 0800 765 223 and receive this free guide by Ryman Healthcare. Their obligation gives you all the information you need to move to resort-style retirement living, including the very best of rest home care, and presents your options in an easy-to-read format. Call 0800 765 and receive this free guide by Ryman Healthcare.
The post vouchers. Great, I'll take that. Get your free My Reward card in store now, then use it every time you shop at Postie. Rewards for shopping? Now that's smart.
There is nothing quite as satisfying as a cup of fresh Ceylon tea. In tea, tradition means quality. For it is the traditional art of tea making that nurtures flavour, aroma and natural goodness.
I devoted my life to tea. My sons and I know that there is only one way to make tea. Once you taste my Dilma, go back to ordinary tea. Enjoy Dilma.
Do try it. It's not every day you get to see the world's best around these parts. It's our golfer's opportunity to have a crack at the world's #1 player, Luke Donald. Australian Masters, Thursday, Sport 2.
Into its 5th year, the Trust New Zealand Open is going. It's not only doubled in size, but in its short existence, the Open itself is one of the leading events on the bowls calendar.
Very popular tournament, and I would say it's just behind the Nationals, so the new National Championships, which are held December, January each year, is probably the pinnacle because you get an official national the bowlers strive for. So I think it would sit just behind that. Miss Prestige.
We had negotiations with Bowls Auckland about the timing of it, and so that we Asia Pacific team here to the event and use it as a final hit out for them in a tournament environment before we go across to Adelaide for the Asia Pacific Championships. So in that regard, it's working the oracle for us. It's really helping us tremendously against good quality opposition before we get over to Adelaide.
Having the New Zealand team here wearing the gear, it's almost putting a big target on them, isn't it? There's a real aspirational element there for people to knock them off their perch.
Yeah, that's dead right. And bowls is one anyone can win on the day. You know, you could be playing a world champion and you just be an average club bowler and you can knock them over. It's just one of those sports which is really good, and that would be very unusual. See a local club rugby player or something taking down an All Black too often. So it's really good from that point of view.
But this event is growing and growing and growing and becoming really competitive. The numbers are growing, and it's becoming more popular, and so therefore the quality is going up every year.
We want to give an event that the current go at, but also we want to get good media coverage through radio, newspaper and on Sky TV so that the general punter can have a look at the game, and I'll maybe go down to my local bowling club and have a go. So you're always wanting more people to get into the sport and just give it a chance, because it's a fantastic game once you play.
Neil Fisher continuing to play on the backhand. Has some options if he can make connection with the last bowl of Monty Power. It will propel his own bowl towards the jack and just draw around it. It's pretty much in the areas. Whether he's got the weight to get it up there or not. Well, it rolled over. It's still the one shot to Power.
What's this one to keep trucking?
Run it out.
Just didn't run it out far enough.
What position, Margaret?
Tony Grantham looking to give an indication to Neil Fisher as to what the position is. He is definitely one down. Measure on the rolled the last bowl of Monty Power.
One and a measure down.
Could have made it two. It's one to measure anyway. Doesn't need to change too much. He's got a chance. Bowls, slip the gap.
A little extra, so if he can run into his own bowls. Looks like he's just a little on the wide side though. So the idea was there to try and promote one of those two. Didn't quite do so, so definitely one. And they might need to stick to determine whether in fact it's two or not. So one comes out.
I think it's only one. Yeah, that's only one.
happy to take the one. So it's 8 all now.
1 to Monty Power Jr. Levels it all up.
Tight final here in Henderson. 8 all now as Monty Power gets us going again. First bowl. Blame, but I don't know whether Monty would blame the wind on that one.
No, I think he just really didn't have the weight there. Conditions at times though. Neil Fisher with his second bowl. Tracking towards the jack as to whether it will turn enough to be pretty much on target. That's a good effort from Neil Fisher.